He was just as frightened as she was. They were in this fight together, but Lauren knew the odds were against them. While others struggled with the reality of their situations, Dee Dee Bailey was contemplating a decision that could change her life. The revelation that she was pregnant had left her reeling, unsure of what to do next. And when she finally sat down to talk to Sarah, her mind was made up. "I've thought long and hard about this, Sarah," Dee Dee said, her voice low but determined. "I'm going to keep the baby." Sarah's eyes widened in shock, but she was careful not to judge. "Are you sure? It's a big decision." "I'm sure," Dee Dee said, her hand resting on her stomach. "I've always wanted to be a mother, and now it feels right. I'm going to do this." But Sarah could see the fear in Dee Dee's eyes. It wasn't just about the pregnancy, it was about what came after. Dee Dee's life was already complicated enough, and now there was the question of whether she could raise a child in the midst of her own emotional turmoil. As the drama unfolded on the street, Daisy Midgley found herself at the center of another secret. Her guilt over her involvement in a hit-and-run incident that had caused serious injury to Shauna was eating away at her. She had kept it a secret, but it was becoming harder and harder to keep up the lie. Daisy overheard a conversation between Debbie and Maddie, who were arguing over the stolen car. The tension between them was palpable, and Daisy felt a pang of guilt, knowing that she had played a role in what had happened. Later, Daisy sat in the cafe, nervously glancing around as she saw Shauna and Adam talking. There was something in the way they were interacting that made Daisy uneasy. And then she blurted out to Shauna, "You need to get those injuries checked out properly." Shauna looked at her, confused. "Why? What injuries?" Daisy hesitated. "Just trust me. You need to get it seen to." Shauna's brow furrowed. She couldn't figure out why Daisy was so concerned. It was only when Daisy walked away that the suspicion began to grow in Shauna's mind. Why had Daisy been so worried? Was there more to the story than she was letting on? Meanwhile, in a quieter corner of Weatherfield, Carla Connor and Lisa Swain were enjoying a much-needed break. They had booked a spa day together at the Chariot Square Hotel, hoping to take some time off from the chaos of their lives. But when they arrived, things weren't as peaceful as they had hoped. Debbie Webster, always the keen observer, spotted them and couldn't resist commenting. "Nice to see friends enjoying a spa day," she said, her tone dripping with sarcasm. Lisa shot her a look, but Carla just smiled, trying to brush off the remark. She needed this time with Lisa, away from the constant pressure of the factory and the street. But as the day went on, Lisa couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't quite right. She had seen Carla flirt with clients before, but today it felt different. She watched as Carla interacted with a handsome client at the spa, and a twinge of jealousy gnawed at her. But it wasn't until later that the full weight of her feelings hit. In the quiet of their hotel room, Carla looked over at Lisa. "Are you all right?" she asked gently. Lisa hesitated before replying. "I don't know. I don't like the idea of other people being interested in you. It's silly, I know." Carla smiled and pulled her close. "You've got nothing to worry about. You're the one I want." While others were dealing with their personal dilemmas, Lean Battersby was facing a financial crisis of her own. Toya had been struggling with mounting debts, and the stress was beginning to take its toll. When Lean discovered that Toya had been using a fake account to siphon money, she was furious. But Lean wasn't about to let Toya fall apart. She transferred £300 from the bistro account into Toya's fake account, desperate to keep her sister afloat. But the move only made Lean's guilt grow. Later, Toya confided in Leanne and Amy that her account was nearly empty, and she had no idea how they were going to survive. Lean could only offer a half-hearted reassurances, knowing that the situation was far worse than she let on. The stories of love, guilt, and survival on Coronation Street were all intertwining, each character's actions having a ripple effect on those around them. Whether it was Audrey's health scare, Daisy's guilt, or Lean's financial troubles, secrets were bound to be exposed, and when the truth came to light, The lives of Weatherfield's residents would never be the same again. Had seen their fair share of drama. But this week, tensions were running high, with health scares, criminal confrontations, and secrets slowly starting to bubble to the surface. Behind the usual banter and street-side chats, the characters of Coronation Street found themselves caught in the web of lies, deceit, and emotional turmoil. From Audrey's suspicious symptoms to David's violent encounters with young thugs, the weather on the street wasn't the only thing causing a stir. The most unexpected challenges were just beginning to unfold. It was a cold morning when Audrey Roberts entered the Rover's return, her eyes searching the room with an almost distracted air. She'd been feeling off for the past few days, dizzy spells, a lingering ache in her chest, and a general sense of exhaustion that had begun to worry her. But Audrey was no stranger to health problems. Her life had been full of ups and downs, and she always managed to pull through. Gail, ever the doting daughter, looked up from behind the bar, her smile faltering when she noticed the concern in her mother's expression. "You all right, Mum?" she asked, hurrying over to her. "I don't know, love," Audrey sighed, sinking into one of the chairs. "I've been feeling funny lately. I think I should see the doctor." Audrey hesitated, not wanting to burden her daughter too much, but there was something about her own symptoms that nagged at her. She had to say something. "Dizzy, tired. It's just not right." Gail's worry grew instantly. "Right. I'll make you an appointment." "Don't fuss, Gail," Audrey protested weakly, but there was no way her daughter was going to let this go. Audrey had been hiding things for too long, and Gail wasn't about to let this slip by unnoticed. Later that day, as Audrey sat in her doctor's office, waiting for results, the weight of her actions hung over her. She had been putting on an act, feigning illness to get Gail's attention. Audrey wanted to make sure her daughter wouldn't leave Weatherfield, not after everything they'd been through. But what if her manipulation went too far? While Audrey's life teetered on the edge of secrets and manipulation, another storm was brewing elsewhere. David Platt's life was always filled with chaos, but this week it reached new heights. After a particularly nasty encounter with Maddie and Logan, two young thugs causing trouble for the Platts, David found himself in a position he hadn't expected. The confrontation had started when Maddie and Logan stormed into the salon, demanding to know where the money had gone. David's recent dealings with shady characters had caught up with him, and these two were now determined to get answers. "David," Maddie shouted, grabbing David by the collar. "You think we don't know about the money? Where is it?" David's heart raced as he fought to keep his composure. "I don't know what you're talking about. I've got no money to give you. Don't play stupid," Logan sneered, backing up Maddie. "We've got eyes everywhere. You'll pay, one way or another." Things escalated quickly. The threats turned into violence, and David, already worn down from the stress of family life, didn't stand a chance. The punch landed hard, splitting his lip, and another followed, leaving a bruise that would certainly take longer to heal. By the time David returned home, battered and bruised, Audrey's worrying symptoms seemed small in comparison. "What happened to you?" Gail exclaimed as David stumbled into the living room, his face bruised, his shirt torn. "Nothing," David mumbled, trying to hide the pain. "Just a little scuffle." Gail's expression turned to one of concern, but she didn't press him further. He was already dealing with too much, and the last thing she wanted was to add to his worries. As the Platt family navigated their own personal crisis, another family was facing a more immediate health emergency. Lauren Bolton had been through so much already. Her daughter Frankie had been fighting for her life, and now the diagnosis was confirmed. Frankie's condition was far worse than anyone had expected, and Lauren's world was shattered. The doctor's words still echoed in Lauren's ears. "We'll start the search for a donor immediately, but I need to prepare you for the worst." Lauren stood frozen, staring at the doctor, the weight of his words pressing down on her. Her hands trembled as she clutched Frankie's small hand, her daughter's once vibrant eyes now clouded with pain. As she walked out of the hospital, her mind was consumed with panic. How could she possibly find a donor in time? And what would happen if she couldn't? At home, Lauren confided in Max, her son. "It's more sinister than we thought, Max," she told him, her voice breaking. "Frankie's diagnosis is serious. We need to act fast." Max could only nod, trying to reassure his mother. But inside,